How are
We're-
you?
I'm good. We're recording now. So anybody that
Okay,
comes on, we'll just let them know that we're recording.
absolutely. Let's have a discussion on these three M's.
Well, yeah, but before we do that, happy Friday.
I know.
What are you
You know what?
doing?
I was happy, like almost a work week is coming to an end today. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Like, isn't that weird? Because I've actually been trying to take my energy and put it into something of value. So today I was really looking forward to the weekend. How about you?
Same. With all of these virtual meetups, there's a bunch of happy hours going on. So I got another one to attend tonight,
Oh, that's
but
cool.
it is very
That's
cool.
cool.
But much like you, I have more of a regimented schedule this week. So I need to decompress, de-energize a little bit before I even think about like going into next week. It did feel like a work week, like even more so.
Yes. Yeah, and I really think that our conversation today is going to help both of us because
Mm,
we're kind of kindred spirits. And
yeah,
sometimes you say something and it really resonates with me, and I incorporate it into myself. Like I want to take that idea and I want to use it. And I
yeah.
feel like we are both in a place in this pandemic we're trying to channel our energies in the best means possible without it taking our energy from us.
Yeah, I agree. And I think talking about manifestation and intentions are going to be really purposeful for that. And like you, I always take something away from whatever it is that you bring to the discussion. Um, but I did have an incident with a Facebook friend yesterday. I want to pick your brain real quick because it has a lot to do with manifestation and intentions. So let me just
Okay.
throw out what was said. So his post, I wish I had it in front of me, like a screenshot of it, but his post said, I want to tell everyone to STFU, which is shut the freak up. I'm saying freak, but you know what to replace it with. For all the people saying that if you're not coming out of this thing with a new side hustle, a new education, and a wellness body, that you just wasted your time. He's like, I want to tell everybody to shut the front door that's posting that stuff because everybody, who are you to say what people should be working on? And in one aspect, I agree with what you said. It's not for us to tell somebody what they should be doing with this time because can be very traumatic for people. But on the other side of things, the question is, what are you going to do with this time? How are you going to live throughout these days of being repressed, shut down, and shut in? And there is a level of working for your betterment. And I don't see anything wrong with that. Yes, judging somebody for not doing anything during this time is wrong. But to kind of flip the switch and say no one should be talking like that is very harmful, because we know that manifestation and intentions for what you want is always a positive thing, and nobody's going to set intentions really purposefully to make themselves not well. It's just not inherent in us to not want to be well. There's usually some kind of discord that makes us want to be that way. What are your thoughts about that, Kelly?
Well, that is, I think, what a lot of people deal with on a regular basis when you are opening up Facebook, when you're opening up any of these social medias. You are exposed to a variety of different personalities, just like you are in life. And whatever content we're putting out there, whatever you're doing in your own personal life to make yourself better, you're trying to lift people up around you, your experience. But his is a personal experience that is specific to him. He has no right to be telling you to shut the front door, right? You're not telling him to go back and climb up into the bed where he's sadly probably is spending a lot of his time because he's having trouble dealing with this. He's having trouble. We shouldn't be making any judgments on anybody, for sure, right? But for him to say that these people should be shutting up, he should be thinking of the greater good. What is the greater good for you to make a statement like that? Anyone that's might be connected with him, it could have been a fleeting moment where, You know, sometimes you see content that is not your own. It was a friend's page that you went down and you saw the commentary. This might not be someone that you preferred to connect with. Someone that is not of your like being. So therefore, you know, we attract, this is like the power of attraction has to do with manifestation, and his resisting or his resentment, that's where he is. And that's a sad place to be. I actually feel very bad for him. But
I
for him to make
agree.
a bold statement of saying everyone should shut up, whatever I'm doing, why are you letting it affect you?
Exactly. I wholeheartedly agree. And I thought that was just a great opening thing that I recently saw last night to get us into this conversation of manifestation and intentions.
That is a great way to open us up. And
So,
also
so
just to add on to that, like his manifesting, just take him as an example for manifesting. What does manifesting mean? To take something that isn't there and to make it a reality, to make it fruition, come to value in your life. It's like where your thoughts go, your energy flows, that saying. It's really, it makes me worry about him. I don't even know this guy. I'm worried about him. because I want to lift him up. I want him to be of a better manifestation. Regardless, we're all in a terrible time right now.
yeah, well,
as you know, I lost my job.
oh yeah.
Right? So I'm still waking up every morning, still trying to stay on a schedule, but I'm not anyone to dictate what you should be doing. You should, when you're joining us and joining in on this phone call, we could be lifting you up and help to elevate your spirit to make you a better being.
I agree. You mentioned like the energy that it takes to manifest and then the laws of attraction. You mentioned both of those. Now, I have heard so much about that book, The Law of Attraction. I have to be the first to say, and you know, I've been in health and wellness for nearly 20 years, going on 19, but I have never yet read that book. What's your experience with reading that book, and how do you follow it, or what are some of the things you've gleaned from it?
Well, I think you're referring to The Secret.
The Secret.
The Secret,
but,
right?
But it's
by Rhonda Byrne.
Yeah, and it's based on the law of attraction, right?
It is based on the law of attraction. So I just want to clarify that the law of attraction and manifesting, they're two different things.
Oh.
They're two different things.
Yeah, let me know about these things.
Well, as I mentioned, manifesting it's a historical record of what you have culminated in your life up to this point, in my opinion. It is a historical culmination. So whatever you have been manifesting in your life up to this point, just take a look back. That is what you've generated.
Okay.
So if you don't like where you are, if you do like where you are, that's where what you have manifested. And that is when it comes into like clarity and specificity and all that good kind of stuff that comes with manifesting that we can get into. But just getting back to The Secret. So the law of attraction is when you are in a meditation or mindfulness or a manifestation, you are trying to create an attraction to something. It could be a person, it could be a thing, it could be a way of being. So that's The Secret talks a lot about the law of attraction. There's some other things like The 3 Simple Steps is a book that I read by Trevor. It talks about 3 steps to becoming mindful every day and making sure that things don't get in the way. So when you are manifesting something, often you don't want to give up what could come with that. And if you're ever manifesting, you understand what I'm saying is that there's certain things, like if I manifest this, then I might have to give this up. So there's fear involved. So he talks a little bit about the steps to overcoming the fear and not having the greater around you, like the people around you or the situation around you, affect your manifestation. Because if I say to you, this is something we use with weight loss. If you think back many years, we would say, well, Ava, I want to lose 10 pounds. And what happens with that is, okay, you say, Kelly, I give you 4 weeks to lose 10 pounds. And you see me 4 weeks later and I still haven't lost that 10 pounds. It's because I brought you into my manifestation. I brought you into it by telling you I was going to do it, which is a way that personal trainers keep people accountable. But I've actually should have kept it for myself, because then I can begin to manifest it and focus on it and create that law of attraction with it. Definitely by changing behavior patterns and things of that nature. But in a one way, no, actually weight loss is not a good example, what I just gave, because as a personal trainer, I don't want anybody not to hire me, right?
I want to ask you about that. So let's just put a pin in that for a second. So is it wrong to share what you're manifesting with someone else because you feel like there's a potential sabotaging of it for yourself?
Well, a manifesting could be a dream that you and your partner have. That could be something that you bring your partner into. But intention, and creating an intention and a want to do something is similar to a manifesting. But you might intend to lose those 10 pounds. Well, that's something very personal, and you don't want anyone to get in your way of achieving it. So you keep it for yourself in your own mind. It's like throwing a pebble into the pond, and you are that pebble. And then suddenly it ripples out to the edge, and you've created all these different waves and all these heights and these lengths. And that is when people come into your intention and they could potentially mess it up.
I know exactly what you mean. So like when I'm working with people one-on-one with wellness coaching, and they come to me and they say that, like, I want to lose 10 pounds. I typically will speak back to them, well, why don't we just set a goal for you to lose weight?
Yes.
And not necessarily be so specific with the 10 pounds in the 4 weeks and the variables that can come with that, because it is truly an ebb and flow when we're talking about manifestation and setting intentions, because it's all energy and we're just not singular energetic bodies. We come across with other people in their meridians. And so things can set
You're absolutely
you off.
right. You're so right about that. And just to piggyback on that for 1 second is that when you're creating an intention, the universe wants you to be fully specific, because it will deliver your intention. So you have to clearly know the path that you're taking. So when you are really setting that intention, you have to have a specificity. So if it might be initially, if someone has never lost 10 pounds, I'm going to lose weight. Like it's a very, not a broad goal. It is a broad goal. Excuse me. It's a broad goal. And then you start to narrow in on that. Okay, now my intention is no longer to lose just weight, but I want to do this with it. And that the universe does want specificity, if it makes any sense.
Absolutely.
You could research further. This monk, his name is Dandapani. Dandapani. He's a previous monk and a priest, and he studied mindfulness and meditation. And he talks a lot about setting specific goals, and really, really incredible speaker.
Absolutely. And speaking of speaker, because a lot of what you're saying as far as the specificity, however you say that, it's always been tough. Your thoughts become things, right? And when you're just starting out with something, like you said, it might be useful for you to, approach it in a broad sense. And then when you find that level of success, to narrow and create that more specific nature and tone to what you're stating out there, because your thoughts become things and things become actions for you to go get that thing. And once you achieve one hurdle and you're able to look back on that success and you have that gratitude towards that, then you can attach yourself to something even greater beyond that.
Beautifully said. So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Are you going to approach your friend that wrote "Shut the Front Door" on?
I did already. So it was a broad.
How did that happen?
Well, it was a broad post that I saw. And I just did an interview, or I sat on a panel with my friend Danielle. You met her on our last talk on last Friday when we were talking about healthy eating and sitting in the house in the shutdown, or, feeling shut in and healthy eating. When we had that conversation, you met my friend Danielle. So I had just did a talk on what do you call it? What am I thinking of right now? on food insecurity, because we had mentioned
Right.
that last week when we were
Right.
talking. And so I had ended up saying, to close out the segment, I said, well, if you're not using this time wisely, I would hope somebody doesn't come out of this time and look back on it and say, I wish I would have done things differently. So it was kind of like what he was posting in a sense, like using your time, working on yourself for the betterment. So when I saw that, I clicked on it and I left a comment saying, well, I'm of the betterment squad. That's exactly what I said. And I said, you know, I recognize that this is something I can do right now and that other people may not be able to do, but I don't see any harm in wanting to better yourself. So he replied back, he was like, or it could be a sense where you don't expect people to even want to. And I agreed. I said, I agree with you. I'm not going to use his name or whatever, but I said, I agree with you. They don't even have to want to. But there's no harm in utilizing this time with what you can do. You know, there's no pressure coming from anyone.
Right. And two different points of view that have to be honored, right? That's why there's, you know, all different flavors and ideas and thoughts, and the way that you can embrace mindfulness, meditation, manifestation, and intention.
Well, mindfulness and meditation, those are two tools that can help you manifest on the intentions that you set. So those are things that.
And how are they different? I mean, how do you think about mindfulness and meditation? Like, if someone might use them in the same way, but they're a little different, don't you think?
They're absolutely different. One is being just very mindful, you know, being in the moment and being mindful of what you're saying, what you're doing, what you're thinking, what you're feeling. And then the other one is meditating on those things or away from those things, because, you know, there's various styles of meditation. But they can both be very useful as time set apart to be. And then what you are when you are being is the mindfulness. And then the time set apart is the meditation component. So they're interconnected, but they are separate.
Right.
You know,
and I think because you meditate on a regular basis,
causes
you to be less reactive. So if someone were interpreting that response on Facebook and hearing it and thinking, well, I just got off of a call and I was just trying to do, you know, you might have taken it personally if you didn't have an ability to be mindful of his comment through meditation and being less reactive and saying, well, maybe this isn't directed completely at me. Maybe this is just how he's feeling, and he wants to let us know how he's feeling. Not just you, but the whole world. Like, they might be reaching out to him and saying, hey, you know, I didn't know you're not feeling good, or you lost your job, or, you know, you have food insecurity.
Yeah, Kelly, exactly. Because you know what, the old me would have been less inclined to make a comment. I would have actually.
You would have went into a shell because
I would have.
It was directed at you, because I am the same exact way.
I would have taken it personal.
Exactly.
I would have actually felt like I did a disservice to anybody that listened to that talk that I did with, you know, on that forum the day before. I would have felt like, in fact, Kelly, the first post I made was like the thinking emoji. And I said, I never thought of it. Listen, I put the thinking emoji on there and I was like, I never thought of it like that. And then I followed up with a second comment and said, but wait a minute, I'm part of the betterment squad.
Good for you.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And I feel that all the meditation I've been doing, and this is all recent that I've been doing it every day. I've meditated before, maybe on a weekly basis, maybe every 2 weeks, but I am using this time to start my day off that way. And that has been consistent. And it has allowed me to step into my power as a woman and to have a formed opinion without judgment. And I love it.
Well, let me present you with another obstacle. And God bless you. Yes, another obstacle. And I wanted to congratulate you on that, because delving into meditation and mindfulness and intention is a very difficult process, but it has transformed my life completely. That's for another segment, but it has transformed my life completely. I had no idea of the power that my brain had, but I was going to say, to put another obstacle in your way, when you develop these positive habits of doing this every day, the hope is that you can continue to do it.
Yeah.
But what happens with people is when we return to our normal work cycle, I'm not going to have as much time to do my meditation in the morning. If I get up and I'm running out to work, the likelihood of me falling back to my old ways because I'm getting in the channel, getting up and going back to work and coming back and making dinner is very possible that I could let my mindfulness fall by the wayside. It's a practice, like you mentioned in our previous conversation. You got to try to set aside that 5, 10, 15 minutes and really know that it helps to change the brain. It not only helps you be less reactive, it can generate kindness, empathy, lengthen your attention span. It just changes the brain waves.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely it
Completely.
does. And that is something that can be looked at as an obstacle when things become whatever new normal they're going to be.
Right.
But that if you truly are in mindfulness, we're not thinking that far ahead there, Kel.
That's true.
We're mindfully being in the moment and reaping the benefits of what's going on now. And if there is anxiety that that's going to happen later, you can live in the moment. You can develop the practice of recognizing where you are right now in this time and space and connect with that every single day to offset those levels of anxiety from happening. So it's kind of like that saying about the little engine that could, I think I can, I think I can't, will be your truth that you sit into. So,
Right.
and then in a physical sense, that's just thinking about it that way using mindfulness, right? But in the physical realm of practicing meditation, actually sitting, laying, whatever, that doesn't have to be so traditional in its manner either. I'm going to just recall what we said a week ago when we were talking about just taking a walk. You can practice a meditative state doing that and mindfulness. That's where they can cross paths and you can do both of those things together. So just utilize your time in any way that you can and make it a mindful, meditative moment. There's no necessarily length or duration that you have to give to either
For
one of those
sure.
practices,
Absolutely. And you also referred in our last talk about the monkey mind. I didn't realize that the monkey mind is an actual terminology for the default mode network that our mind goes to when
Oh,
we are,
yeah.
yeah, when we are in our busy mind. That is just going from task to task to task without being in what we call flow.
Right.
Being centered and focused on the flow, focused on your energy, on your chi, and that is life-changing right there. To know that you can get inside yourself and create flow, what an incredible ability. We haven't even tapped into it.
I know. Isn't that so funny how you can think a million things at one time? And I think the whole, if we aligned it in a gender sense, women do that much more in greater numbers than men do, as far as the amount of thinking and thoughts that pop into our head on a daily basis. But that speaks to the power of the mind, how you can have these random thoughts and sometimes they can be in multiple waves where you're not even, they don't even give that much time in between them. And I would love to find out if you can think two thoughts at one time. I don't know if that's possible or not, but they come so quickly and so
They do.
swiftly that you don't even know if they are coming together or if they're separate. I think they are separate though.
That's true. But then that brings back to mind the conversation of reacting or not reacting, becoming aware of each thought.
Right.
And creating a practice. So if right now I'm thinking about picking up my kids or something of that nature, then readjusting back to be completely centered and on our topic.
Yeah. Well, I got a question for you since you threw me that obstacle. I want to just play a little tennis and throw one
Wait,
back
we're
on
running
you.
late here.
I know. I want to ask you this. How you receive, process, and let go of things, right, is kind of like what we're talking about. How you receive things, how you process them, and how you let go of them. And deciding what serves you best and what doesn't serve you. How would somebody take the time to do that when it comes to manifestation, deciding what serves you best and what doesn't serve you? Is it based upon your wants and your needs? What do you think about that?
What an incredible question. I think that we all take our thoughts and we judge them. And we probably shouldn't do that when we're in a meditation state. I think what you're more relaying to is intention. So if you're thinking about intention, we want to focus specifically on what we want it to get. But when you're in a meditation, you can't reject a thought or judge a thought. You just acknowledge that thought when it comes in. If it's a pressing thought, something you didn't want to forget, I would typically write it down. But if it's something like having to pick up the kids or something of that nature, I think it's just creating that practice of continuing to get into your practice daily and to really hone in. I'm getting so good in my practice now that I can actually go into my practice and work on a specific problem without letting the other thoughts come into the head, come into the brain and distract me. And that is a place where you're starting to generate flow.
Awesome. And that answers the question perfectly, because while you're in that meditative state, you are not judging it. And then when you come out of it and you get what you get from it, that's when you can decide to let go of what doesn't serve you best.
Absolutely.
And what you want to allow, and what you want to allow serve you more. And I think that's a perfect way to end this, you know, without overwhelming me, yourself, or anybody that's watching this, you know. So
we would love to take any potential questions or statements or comments. I'll leave my books that I read and a couple of guys that I referenced here in our phone call to see if they wanted to look them up in the future.
Yeah, and you know what? I have one reference too for some of the comments that I made. There's a great website out there where you can utilize it if you are wanting to start to begin manifesting. It's all about where you want to be and where to get started on that. So I'll leave that reference too in the chat.
Okay.
So Kelly, are we going to do this again? Well, thank you. Are we going to do this again next Friday?
Okay, that sounds good. We'll connect before then to discuss the topic. What do you want the topic to be?
Let's kind of talk about intentions after we kind of disconnect and figure it out together.
Okay.
Enjoy your wine. Are you doing wine tonight?
Are you still recording?
I'm still recording. We got 1 more minute left. I just wanted to know if you were doing a happy hour tonight, the virtual way.
Yes. Yep.
All right. So enjoy your virtual happy hour.
Thank you, Ava. You too. Have a great week.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.